Alrighty, everybody. Welcome back to the High Expectations podcast, hosted by myself, Donny, and my awesome co-host, Jake. A couple things to get out of the way before we jump right into this episode. Go ahead and follow us on Instagram at expect_hiations. That's expect_hiations, HIGHATIONS on Instagram. On Twitter, follow us at expect_highness. That's again at expect_highness, HIGHNESS. And please subscribe to us on YouTube as well. Find us at High Expectations. All the links will be posted below. And with all that being said, let's jump right into today's episode with a longtime friend of mine, Josh Bixler. He's big into bracket racing. He's been racing since God knows when, since he was able to walk, maybe even before then. Give it up, everybody. Welcome, Josh Bixler. All right, so right off the bat, you and me met probably about, was I in middle school or was it before then? Do you remember how old you were?
I don't. I think it was before that. I think we were in like third or fourth grade, or maybe you might have been in third or fourth grade. I was in fourth or fifth, something like that. Yeah. I mean,
because I remember going into middle school, going to sixth grade. You were big in wrestling, and your whole family was big into wrestling.
Yeah.
I started wrestling in sixth grade. I didn't last. I only did it in sixth grade. I wasn't the biggest fan. But yeah, that's how my family got to know your family, was through wrestling.
Yeah, because your sister was.
She was a manager for the wrestling team when your brother was on the team.
Yeah, so we were the little kids running around.
Yeah, we would always go to the wrestling matches, and we'd go and run around in the other gym and play wall ball and do whatever while the actual wrestling tournament was going on.
You guys have known each other for 20 years?
Not quite. Like that. Well, yeah, I guess almost 20.
Pretty close. That's crazy. That's a lot of time.
Yeah, because I'm 27, so
let's see. I'm 26, almost 27.
Yeah, fifth grade, you're what, 10 maybe at your oldest?
Yeah, so 15-ish years. 15.
Yeah, something like that. Yeah, it's been a long time.
Dude, that's awesome. Are you still in Chicago?
Yeah, I live in Beach Park, which is Donny and I grew up in Gurnee. So Beach Park is a couple towns east of it.
Okay.
And I'm maybe a half mile from Lake Michigan. I'm right there.
So you're not technically in Wisconsin?
No.
Wisconsin?
What?
Were you ever living in Wisconsin?
I was never living in Wisconsin, but we do not all of it. We do most of our racing in Wisconsin and everything. So, but I'm I think 5.4 miles from the border or something.
Okay, yeah. I was about to say, at Gurnee in general, we grew up pretty close to Wisconsin.
Yeah.
But
I just learned something new. I didn't even I know what the map looks like, right? I'm not an idiot, but I didn't realize how close Illinois and Wisconsin were. I didn't realize you guys just kind of go back and forth between Wisconsin and shit.
Well, Illinois and Wisconsin share a border, but Illinois is also huge. So from the top of Illinois to the south of Illinois is a 8-hour drive, maybe more. Yeah. But we were all the way north. I used to.
Yeah. You got to make those drives all the time playing baseball.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, we go all the way south. But have you done anything with wrestling still? While we're on the topic of wrestling, before we get into your racing,
not a whole lot. I mean, I like to watch the nationals and stuff like that, NCAAs and all that stuff, but I haven't really been involved in it really. Blake's older brother Bryce actually coaches at Warren.
Oh, okay.
He's an assistant coach or something. So I talked to him about going back every once in a while, and he it just never happens. Busy.
But every now and then you'll probably consider it in the future. Has he asked you recently or not?
Yeah, we've talked about it recently. It was probably about a month ago, just because wrestling just came back with COVID and everything. So their wrestling season is deferred till now. I think they might be done by now, but
yeah.
But yeah, I mean, I'm not even close to the same weight class anymore. So
yeah. Do you still talk to Bruton at all? I just missed him when he was out in Vegas. I was kind of busy. He came out last minute, but I know he's a wrestling academy. I don't know if you ever gotten involved with him at all or.
No, I didn't. every once in a while, I'll, Facebook, you kind of keep up with people, but I haven't really hung out with Brute in a long time. I wish I did.
I haven't seen him in years, honestly.
Yeah.
I miss him when he's in Vegas, but
he's busy. He's doing real estate or something. He's doing big things. It's always cool. I mean, Facebook, keeping everybody kind of in contact and whatever. It's cool to see everybody getting married and everybody starting their own businesses and stuff like that. And that's really cool. I love seeing that type of stuff, especially, everybody I grew up with. It's that time in our lives. And it's really cool.
I feel like more and more nowadays too, like more people in like their 20s to 30s, like everybody's starting a business. Like they're doing something to like stray off that traditional path and just like work your whole life, retire and fucking die.
Yeah. I mean, it's definitely the time to do it. And I mean, it's a lot of work.
For sure.
But might as well work in your 20s so you can have whatever you want in your 30s, 40s, whatever,
Straight
not take
up.
the traditional route that all of our parents typically take, work a job for 30, 40 years, whatever. And then, you get a nice retirement gig and whatnot, but why not try it when you're young? Try to build something.
Take the risk.
That's right.
Yeah. While we're on the topic, go ahead, Jake. What are you going to say?
No, you go ahead.
I was going to get there in a second, but since we're on the topic of getting married and starting a business, well, first of all, you got married how long ago now? Has it been like 2 years, a year, 3 years?
Year and a half.
My whole time frame is like,
Congrats.
Yeah, thank you.
It's like all thrown off. Cause I did fly home and I was home for like 24 hours.
Yeah.
Like our busiest, that was like Brooklyn Bowl, like October, Jake. It's like our busiest month. So I literally flew home for his wedding for like 24 hours and then came back. Yeah, that was right before COVID. So it's like almost 2 years ago. Yeah,
almost. We're getting there. It's time flies.
Yeah, no, for sure. Like I said, it feels like I was just there, honestly.
Yeah.
So that was the first half. You said get married and start a business, and then you guys just started an LLC in May, or was it in April officially?
Yeah, beginning of May. So a couple weeks. We're still getting things figured out. My wife, I cannot thank her enough. She's doing all the like QuickBooks and that type of stuff, getting everything set up. Haven't really done anything yet. Well, haven't really done anything officially yet. See, if I move over here is engine parts and stuff. I got a motor on the bench behind me. I got a motor on the bench just over there. And I got a couple other motors that I'm doing at people's houses. They live close enough that I'll go over there and build their motors or do whatever they want to their stuff. So it's official, but we're still kind of getting everything ready.
Right.
Tax wise, and it's complicated, man. That stuff's a mess.
Absolutely, for sure. So what exactly are you planning on doing with your business then? I read it was you're going to build engines, repair engines, both?
Yeah. So right now, I mean, I've you know me, I've done engine building and stuff since I raced a junior dragster. I was kind of growing up. That was kind of one of the rules my dad had was his big thing was showing interest and making effort. So he wasn't going to do it for us. When we're little kids, 8, 9, 10, through even now, sometimes I call him and ask him.
Yeah.
So we always had to show an interest. So we always had to be there and then make an effort, try to learn, try to pick it up. So that way, if we ever had to do it without him or whatever, like we're doing now, or like I'm doing now, building stuff, and he's not here. My parents are in Florida. So he kind of set me up to succeed and kind of live out one of his dreams. Also, he wanted to start a business, do the engine building and tuning and stuff. So right now I'm kind of in the first stages of it. Just engine building right now and making repairs. Like I said, I got a couple motors in here, or engines rather. And then engines at other people's houses. One of them, I'm not even doing a full engine build. Hit a transmission issue racing. And so I went over there, tore his engine down. He sent the transmission out to one of the best in the business. And he just got it back 2 days ago. I went in yesterday, dropped the transmission in. And then next week sometime, he still had some stuff to get to put in the engine. So next week sometime, I'm going to go over there, finish it up, put it back in the bike. And mostly it's going to be focused on racing, motorcycles and stuff like that. But I got a couple other. Somebody wanted a Gator, a utility vehicle that is just a small V-twin engine and wasn't running right, leaking oil all over the place. I tore it down. I assessed what he needed, got the parts, and put it back together, and things run flawless ever since. And then I got another guy that he was using a ton of oil. He was using a quart of oil every 20 miles or so in his side-by-side. So it's a Razor, just a sport utility vehicle, really.
Yeah.
And going trail riding and stuff. He was using a lot of oil. So pulled that out over at his place and tore it down. His valve guides were junk. There was a lot of play in there. So a lot of oil was coming through from the bottom end. And his rings were bad. So we rebuilt that. Still actually waiting on some parts for him too. So that's the hard thing about engine building is sometimes, especially now, lead times for parts and stuff are long. So it's not an overnight process.
So with like COVID and everything, that's caused like the parts to take longer to get through?
No? Oh
yeah,
big time. So it used to be you got bearings for the bottom end of an engine. You order them from whoever your supplier is, and you get them overnight or 2-day or whatever, and they're available right now because prices are going up for everything. Materials are hard to find. It's lead times are long. Makes it a little harder for guys like me that are especially just getting into it. Everybody wants their motorcycles or utility vehicles or anything. They want it right away, and I do my best to get it back to them right away. But the lead times and stuff are just long. It's just the nature of what's going on right now.
That's just how it is with everything right now. Actually, I was just talking to one of my neighbors, and he's getting a what are those things called, an awning on his patio, a patio cover, and they're telling him like it's gonna be like a lot more weeks now because like metal's short. And I'm like, geez Louise, like first it was coins and now it's like everything, man.
Yeah, it's crazy.
We got.
So are you doing everything just at your house right now? Like, do you have enough property? Do you have enough space? Or you just?
Yeah, right now I'm either doing it at their house if they're close enough and they have the space. Fortunately for me, a lot of people I'm doing the work for, we either race with or they're friends.
So like come work on it here and then leave.
Yeah, and it's easier to keep it at their place or whatever if they have the space. If not, then I'm doing it out of my garage right now. I got benches cleared off. I got space made. I got all the tools to do it. I've always done my own engines. So what really kind of, other than, my dad always wanted to do it. It just kind of on Facebook, one of the groups I was in, a guy wanted me to tune his bike, basically take the limiters out, unlock the control unit that controls all the fueling and ignition timing and all that for the engine. Basically unlock it and make it quicker, faster, rev higher, run better. Yeah. And so a guy up in Milwaukee asked me to do that, and I was like, yeah, I can do that. So went up there, did that for him. He jumped back on the bike. I think he went out of town for work or something, jumped back on the bike, and he was like, this thing is incredibly fast. It's significantly faster than it was before. He said he could shift into second gear and pin the throttle and spin the rear tire, where before he would jump into second gear, pin the throttle, and he'd hook and go. But there's that much more power just from the simple tune that I put in his bike. And he was like,
and is this all for racing stuff, or is it racing and or just personal use stuff, or is it?
Yeah. It's I like to do the racing stuff because it's purpose built. That's a majority of the stuff I do. However, the guy up in Milwaukee that I was just talking about, his is just a street bike. And
because is that like something that you do that like you're not legally allowed to do for a race? Like are these like tune-ups that like you can't use for your bike in an actual race?
No, you could. Yeah, I could do that. I do all my own tuning for my bike, and anything I really do, I can could do for racing, all the tunes and whatnot. It's just basically getting your bike or whatever it is to run at peak efficiency.
Okay.
So it would be the quickest, the most torque, gear it different to have more or less mile an hour. It's all stuff that can be done to street or race.
It's not like a steroid or like an added like a booster or anything. It's just okay. Like scaling it to like you said, like maximize the efficiency of it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
To
And,
me, tune-up sounded just like such like a adding something like you weren't supposed to be adding, but that makes sense. Like fine tuning, like a guitar, I guess people tune your guitar.
Yeah. I mean, essentially, it's kind of like that, just making it work better or work faster, whatever.
Yeah.
So it all kind of stemmed from that guy in Milwaukee, and he said at the end of the season he wants to make his bike even quicker. So he asked me what I would recommend. I gave him my recommendation. He said, "All right, in the fall, let's get together." His bike has like 30-something thousand miles on it, and he got it. So he said he thinks it's kind of tired. So I was like, well, I can pull it apart, assess what's going on, change bearings or whatever it needs. I'm not trying to sell people something they don't need.
Right.
And because there's a lot of places that do that, and I think that's wrong. So whatever it needs, I'll fix it, freshen up the motor, and then continue to do whatever he wants with it, But I don't know the guy other than conversations on Facebook, meeting up with him, doing the tune on his bike and everything. And so that's kind of the LLC, opening that up. I'm getting more and more people that want me to do work for them. A lot of people I don't know, which is great. And so if something were to happen, and the motorsports industry is kind of touchy with that, because there are some people that really don't know what they're doing. Put the motor in, and what happens if they go put it on the rev limiter where they wanted it, put it on the rev limiter and blow it up, and that happens. If it's just the nature of the business, and nothing that I do on other people's stuff, I wouldn't. It's all stuff that I would do to my stuff.
Right, but like you said, if it goes wrong, it's not necessarily like something you did wrong. It's just things can happen, and
things can happen. I mean, it's a bunch of mechanisms spinning all together at the same time at really high RPM. So, like I said, I wouldn't do any of this. I wouldn't not do any of this to my bike. So it's.
When was this guy that you talked to in Milwaukee? Like, when did that happen?
That was. It's probably early April, maybe late March.
Okay, so like that happened, and you were like, "Why not? Let's make this a business," and you did it.
Yeah. I've always wanted to do it, and it just my wife, she's amazing. She really kind of was like, well, if you're gonna be doing this, let's do it. I was like, okay, because I've always done it kind of on the side and whatnot. But she was like, well, if you're gonna be doing this and getting more and more people, then let's do it. Let's make it, make it what we can,
Exactly.
Shout out to all the amazing women out there pushing us to be our best.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Definitely.
So let's rewind then, since we jumped right into the business.
Hold on. I have one more question. So are you doing this like full time? Is this all you do right now? No.
I still have my full-time job. Okay. I'm just kind of doing it after work on the weekends. Whenever I have free time, I'm busy enough. I might as well be busy 100% of the time rather than 95% of it,
Hey, and then, you'll get out of your 20s and you'll only be doing this. You'll be set, man.
Yeah, that'd be cool. It's definitely something that would make it all worth it. I mean, it's all worth it anyways. It's something I love to do, and I might as well do it.
Yeah, exactly. So going back to even when I first met you, since I've been going to your house, you talked about the garages you have. It's literally been your family was wrestling and racing. So just like finally like living like the career and like building the path with one of those two. One, like I'm glad to see it, but two, it's just like very fitting. And when I would go to their house, like growing up, you walk through the little walkway and like it definitely was not disorganized, but like to say that they like had as much in there as they could possibly fit, you had enough to like walk down one little walkway and it was packed with stuff for racing and building motors, and they were nonstop working, nonstop doing stuff. So like it's very fitting, to say the least. I had to throw that in at some point.
Yeah. The breezeway at my parents' house. It was funny when we were kids, and I was racing junior dragsters, which you can race from. I think it's like 5 years old now. It's I don't know if you know what a regular size dragster is, a full scale dragster. You see them on I think
Not really.
Fox Sports 1.
Okay.
Those are like the top fuel dragsters. But there's I think quarter scale versions for kids, and that's how we started out, me and my brother. I started when I was young. I think I was 7 when I made my first passes, which wasn't exactly legal back then, but now it's 5. So
Yeah.
by today's standards, it would have been fine. But you can start actually racing against competition when you're 8 years old, and so I was doing that, and we had my dragster on the bottom, and my brother's dragster was like turned around, stacked on top the other way. And then we had a couple motorcycles in the breezeway, and like Donnie said, there was like one walkway to get through. Other than that, it was either engine parts that were for the next build, or engine parts for a project we were working on, or junior dragster stuff. It was everything. It was a lot of stuff in that small space.
Yeah. So you said you've been doing this since you were 7. What are some of the places you've been? Like, where's like the craziest places you've been to race, or just places? Or
we've been all over. Back when I was younger, when we were just kind of traveling with my dad racing, we used to go all over. Atlanta, Valdosta, Indianapolis, Minnesota, up at Brainerd, Florida a few times, Michigan, everywhere, pretty much mostly the Midwest. But we go down to Atlanta or out to wherever. We've been all over. I just was racing in Palm Beach International Raceway in over New Year's. I was down there.
Let's say I saw you in Florida. Yeah, that's crazy.
Yeah. So, I mean, we travel, we go all over the place, and just kind of whatever races line up and whatever we can work out with, my regular job and my wife's regular job. And we try to do it as much as we can. We have fun.
Yeah. So these races, how does it work as far as like joining? Do you pay to join and then you race for a prize? Do you just pay to race for fun? Is it all like the entry, or is it?
I was just about to ask that, because I'm like, is it like a special race club? Like, do you get a text at midnight? Like, like a guy like me could just never find out.
Yeah. So
I just didn't know if it was like you race for prizes, or if it's just like a trophy, or if it's certain. It just depends the tournament, or.
So it kind of depends. With us, it's an entry fee, and you're racing for money. Sometimes you win. Let's see, stuff like that. It's a Wally, they call it, a Wally plaque. It's a
Wally
Wisconsin State Championship on it. We won that back in 2015.
How big is that wall? We can see like 6 plaques.
Yeah,
there's a bunch. There's more behind the light and everything. But I actually just got rid of most of my trophies from when I was a kid. When you're younger, you race for trophies, and when I was younger, they used to race for like college, like
scholarships.
Yeah, kind of like trust fund type stuff.
Okay.
So, because it wasn't, the rules back then were different. It wasn't legal to give kids money till they were 16 or 18 or whatever the rules were back then. Nowadays, the kids are racing for money as well. Cool. But so down in Florida.
Gotta pay the kids, man. Come on. You can't make those kids race for free.
Yeah.
Labor.
So in Florida, it was, I think the entry fee per race, there were 3 races. Because of rain, we were there for a total of 5 days. But between the 5 days, the 2 bigger races were $125 to enter, and then there were 10,000 to win.
Oh, shit.
So there's a lot of money in it. If you win, it happened that one of the really, really good racers down in Florida doubled up. He won both the $10,000 races, and the same guy actually runnered up and took second in both of them. Really, really good racers down there. They race all year round. They got a lot of laps on their car, and they're just really good at it. I wish I could say I was that good. I'm working my best to get there, but those guys they're the real deal down there. And every year, last year down in, there were 4 or 5 of them, I think, guaranteed $1 million. So those races, I think at least one of them, I don't know what the entry fee for all of them was, but I looked at going to one last year and it just wasn't in the cards, but it was $3,600 to get in, to get in. And that there were every race, there's 2 people side by side and one of them goes home. So the field gets cut in half every race. I think there were a total of 450 people in that. That's
just a single elimination, just tournament. Wow.
That's nuts. That's such high intensity. I love it.
Yeah. Some of the races, they do allow buybacks. So buybacks are basically you lost first round, but you only get one shot at it. So
it's like
you lost first round.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you can pay to get back into it. And then if you lose after that, you're done.
Right.
Or if you don't lose first round, you win first round and then go into the next round, you could lose and you're done. So it's high stakes. It's fast. And not all races are like that. Those are kind of extreme examples of a lot of money that people are racing for. But like the local races around here, I think they're $100 to get in and it's $1,200 to win guaranteed. So, I mean, racing for $1,200, you can multiply your money by 12. Really?
Yeah.
No,
and it's
12
a much
is never bad.
And it's a much smaller field.
Yeah, a lot smaller field, local races and everything. There's a couple big money races going on right now. We've been racing a lot locally. Our season is really front heavy. So we're kind of taking a break. Plus, I got all this stuff to get done. So trying to start the business, run it, and racing on the weekends, it's a lot.
Yeah, and you can correct me if I'm wrong, but I feel like you'd be the type of person that even if there was no prize money, you'd probably still pay and race anyway.
Yeah.
So, the fact that you can win money is kind of like a fun little bonus.
Oh, yeah.
Don't get me wrong, you're not dropping $3,600 to join a race that you can't win anything, but like if it was a $50 entry to go to some like amazing race and like there's no prizes, like that's still fun. That's still worth it. Like that's still cool. Like,
that's the thing. I mean, the money is nice. It's really nice, especially if you win it. But just racing in general, I mean, we have a lot of fun. We have a big racing community, and we travel all over the place. And actually, one of these, let's see if I can get in there. These 2 pictures right here were that's the winner circle, which I didn't quite win it. I took second place, but that was the big they call it division finals, and division finals is a single elimination. There's no buybacks. You lose, you're done. I went to the finals racing against the cars last year, and it was 8 or 9 of the tracks around the Midwest, and they get their best 30 or I think it was 25. It might have been 50 people. They get their best. They all meet at one track, and we all race off for a chance to go to the World Finals in Memphis for a chance to win $20,000. A race to get in for free. Yeah. To race for $20,000. And so I took second at that race. I missed it by 1 round. Unfortunately, it happens.
That's crazy though.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun. I had a really good weekend that weekend. And these are both the same time. So this was the crew that I had with me. Just in that picture, it's me, Arthur, Blake, who you also grew up with, and then one of my wife's friends, my wife, and then one of my wife's friends, Katie, who came with us. And then this picture is the track, the whole support system. Everybody, once you lose, this race, you can go home, and all of these people in this picture, I don't know how many there are, but there are a lot of them. They stayed and support you and watched me race the whole time, and it was incredible. The racing community we have around us is just amazing. They're all awesome people.
Yeah, it's crazy. Yeah, that people just stay. Wait, where was that one at?
That one was in Eddyville, Iowa. So it was about a 6-hour drive.
Yeah.
Really nice track. It was really rainy weekend, but it was a good weekend. It was a lot of fun. Everybody from the racetrack, when it rains, we all just kind of hang out and we're all just friends, you know.
Yeah.
So it was really cool.
Yeah. So I've been seeing you post on your Facebook. You've been doing just like some live streams and videos of when you go to your races. Are you planning to incorporate that at all into your business as far as like content creation, or are you like a channel and all that? Or you just kind of want to like keep people informed and whoever want to see you race, it's kind of just like an extra little bonus?
Yeah, I would like to do like content creation, YouTube, or, you know, my wife, obviously I'm racing, I'm on the bike. So
right.
She's the one doing all the going live and everything like that. And she does an awesome job. I love that she loves it too.
Let's say, yeah, she seems like she's having fun doing it too. So that was awesome. But
yeah, it's really cool. And racing, I'd love to do the content creation. It's kind of hard on a bike. I know you said you've been watching the live videos, so you can see that me on the bike, I'm racing against other people in cars and whatnot. And it's the style of racing we do. It's really, really complicated, hard to explain. But eventually I'd like to get into that. It's just right now it's hard to find places for cameras because I don't have much real estate on mine. It's
yeah, like even like a GoPro and stuff, it's hard to like put anywhere. Or
yeah, I did get all the videos from Florida and just kind of trying it out, trying to figure out where I want to put the GoPros and whatnot. And then one of my friends came out and put a couple GoPros on one of our friends' dragsters on my bike. Got a cool video from that. That's on the racing page.
Yeah,
I'd like to. I don't really know much about editing and everything like that. Haven't really given it too much of a shot of doing that, but eventually there are some really, really cool YouTube channels out there. One of them, the guy's name is Tom Gawley. He's from South Dakota. He does Gallstar TV. Really, really cool bracket racing channel. Just kind of explains what we do and goes through practices. He was a world champion a couple years ago, I think 2017, and he does really cool stuff. I'd like to do something like him, obviously different because he already does it, and it, you know, if it's all the same, then you know. But
I was gonna say, I mean, even if you did like some sort of vlog where obviously, I mean, like you can't record that much while you're riding, but even like have the footage of you like talking about the race before and after, or like talk about the trip. Like if you're going like that Florida trip, like what I've been doing recently is doing like travel vlogs essentially. So like each trip I'm just like turning into a vlog. So you could like make one like 15-20 minute video entirely of just like your Florida race trip, and then like you can just like, I don't know.
Dude,
like I've been carrying a camera around like excessively, and like I don't know how I feel about it. Like I feel weird, and I feel like it's kind of annoying every now and then, but like it's kind of fun. So, but like you said, if you're doing the engine building and all that for now, definitely focus on that first. But
yeah,
dude, but you could even do something like when you're working on these things, like do time lapses of you working on these builds, or even like some videos, like kind of this would be kind of like anticlimactic to your business. It would kind of offset it, like if you did instructional videos, like on how you fix things. But like if you did something like that, like even the time lapse things, like dude, you get a ton of views on those just because like there's so many people like you that are like so into this, like. They just like with what it is now is so many people are moving away from TV. Like we just want real life people doing real life things that like you're interested in. Like I think that could actually go like really big for you and your business.
I've thought about like the time lapse thing and talking about it every step of the way, and that's something else that I thought about too. Is, you know, I'm trying to make money doing this, but I'm also, you know, making videos for other people to do it on their own in their garage, which is kind of, like you said, it's kind of counterproductive, but at the same time, it's really cool. And there's videos that are instructional about, fixing simple issues, stuff like that. I'd like to do a full engine build. I think that'd be really cool in a time lapse. And what I see a lot is these videos, people go into them and they're talking for 10 minutes and then they get into the video, and then you kind of, skipping ahead and went too far, going back, whatever. And splitting it up by section of the engine, or, whatever, or do multiple videos, and, not just sit there and talk 10 minutes of what I'm going to do today and then time lapse through the whole thing, just kind of get right into it. This is, I'm going to do a valve job today, which I'm actually set up to do after this. I'm going to do a valve job on a motor, on a Hayabusa motor. But, just film it and say, I'm going to do a valve job today, and then get right into it. And
people would love that.
Things. Yeah, it'd be, I would love to do something like that. The editing and stuff is something that I'm going to have to learn to do.
Dude, the editing is not as hard as everybody makes it seem. And especially doing just like instructional videos, like a lot of the footage you're going to be able to just keep as is. Like you just, especially if you get right into it like that, like how you're saying, get right into it, do the job, get it done. Dude, you throw like an intro on there, maybe make sure it's all a little correct. You're good to go, especially in the beginning, and then start making some money, get some better gear.
Yeah.
Rock it.
Yeah, that'd be cool. I'd love to do that. I think that's
definitely one. Yeah, it's not as hard as people make it out to seem, but it's definitely a little bit of a process for sure. I'm like in the beginning of it too.
Yeah, it's it takes a lot. I mean, I talked about it with Blake, and Blake's not here with me, but Donny was one of the kids that we used to play wall ball and we grew up with.
True.
Yeah, and I actually put him on a bike just recently, as of the last couple weeks. So it's kind of funny. They always called us the littles and the bigs, kind of going back to what we were talking about at the beginning. They called us the littles and the bigs, and the littles were me, Donny, Blake, and then one of our other friends, Hefke. And we were always running around at the wrestling meets. Hefke's older brother wrestled, and my brother and Blake's older brother wrestled, and then Donnie's sister was the team manager. So we always had to go to all of them. So we were always really good friends, and we grew up and did stupid stuff and hung out not only at the wrestling meets, but we also used to hang out all the time at all of our houses and whatnot. So it was just it's funny because Donnie wrestled in 6th grade and didn't keep wrestling, but still, I mean, we still all hung out. Hefke wrestled with me and Blake all through high school and everything. And it's just kind of funny because growing up, Blake was a wrestler just like me, and now he's racing with me. I'm teaching him.
Times he's actually raced?
He hasn't actually raced in competition yet.
Right.
He just made his first passes on the bike 2 weeks ago, which going from, I mean, he grew up riding dirt bikes, and, we were always snowmobiling at his house and whatever. So, I mean, he grew up around motors and riding stuff. And it's a lot different. It's a lot different than you'd think, just getting on a, even if you ride a street bike, it's a lot different just going to the racetrack and going down the track. The surface is different. The way the bikes act on the surface is different. How the rear tire hooks and everything. It's some people adapt to it really well, and some people, have issues with it. But Blake riding that bike, it's really cool to see, especially because I moved from my parents' house, then I moved to my brother's house when he bought his place when my parents moved away. And then I moved to my house, and the bike's been apart since I lived at my parents' house. So every step of the way, Blake was there learning how to work on it, and now he's riding it, which is really cool. That's
awesome.
I was about to ask you because I've seen that he's always at the racing, so I didn't know if he was just like obviously chilling and hanging out. He's always down for that. I don't know if he's getting involved at all or. Yeah,
so he's last year kind of helped out. We got the bike running last year. I guess we started midway through the season last year, just kind of building it. And it was just one day he was hanging out in the garage with me, and I was like, "Hey, you want to ride this thing?" He was like, "Yeah." It didn't have a motor in it. The front end was off of it. Everything. I had to get a the gas tank, because on that bike there's a backbone gas tank. So one of the tubes is removed, and the gas tank is actually part of the chassis, the tubing that holds the thing together.
Oh,
and
shit.
So it was all apart and sitting on my bike lift. And I was like, hey, you want to ride this thing? He's like, yeah, I'll try. So he just started doing it, and it's I got it together last year. Having to find all the pieces, first of all, was a pain, especially after 3 times moving.
Oh my god!
Everything, or you had to order some new stuff?
Oh yeah, a lot of stuff. So whole new wiring harness, which my dad actually flew in, and me and him knocked the wiring harness out in a day. Mostly him. It's a whole different wiring system than normal bikes. Different ignition, different everything. So that's something my dad came into town and we knocked that out. So we got it on the track last year, and had to work out some issues, shift timing and stuff like that. But yeah, Blake actually got on the bike and made his first pass 2 weeks ago, and it's really cool. It's really cool to see.
Oh yeah. Yeah, I know you have a few races coming up. I'm actually going to be home. You said June 5th and 6th, right?
Yep.
You're still doing that?
Yes. We'll
And
be.
am I allowed to just show up? I can just come watch.
Yeah.
For sure. I'm gonna come that 5th because I'm going to the White Sox game on the 6th.
Yeah, cool. Yeah.
Are you gonna film that whole weekend, Donny? Or is
I'll
that the
probably
weekend?
be filming everywhere I go. Yeah, just like random stuff. I don't know that I'm gonna do another Chicago trip vlog since I already did my first one. Is that?
Nah, bro, we get the race for sure.
Yeah, no, I'll definitely like have that content for sure and have stuff. Yeah. Like for this, sure. Like I'll post that randomly and be like, "Hey, we got this podcast coming up. Look at my buddy racing." But
Josh, you got to make sure you get the dub that day.
I'm gonna do my best. First race this year, I did.
So is
this
it
your first race this year?
No, the first race 3-4 weeks ago now. We had our first race of the season. I got the dub there, but since then we've had 4 other races, and not doing so hot. It's just kind of it's hit or miss. Sometimes it's your day, sometimes it's not.
You got a lot on your mind, brother. You got to clear the conscience.
Yeah. The last race I did last Sunday, I lost it by 2/10,000ths of a second. So 0.0002 the other guy got there before me. And it's just, it's that tight. There's a lot of really good people we race with, and the racing is that tight. It's hard. It's really hard.
Are you always going up against the one person you're racing with, or is it sometimes just like a time thing? Like there's 10 people in a pool and the fastest time wins, or? No,
it's always going up against the person you're racing with. And this is kind of what I was talking about earlier. The style of racing we do is kind of complicated. So
I do say it's complicated because when I try and explain it to people, is it motorcycle drag racing? Is that like
so what I do, it's called bracket racing, and sometimes I do it with only motorcycles and motorcycle drag racing, but most of the time I race with the cars. And the way that's fair, you don't have to have $100,000 into your car and be the fastest thing out there. Some people certainly do. Some people have really cool cars, and some people have really, really basic cars. But it's a time thing. So you estimate how quick you're going to run. And at the beginning of the day, we make a couple time trials to see with the weather, what our vehicles are running that day and whatnot. And then you estimate how fast you're going to go. So my bike runs just over 5.5 seconds, and we go down to the 100th of a second. So, for example, last weekend, my bike was running 5.69 seconds in the 8th mile. So, being that consistent down to the 100th of a second is it's hard. It's really hard. But that's how consistent our vehicles are. And sometimes they're consistent down to the 1,000th of a second, or they move around a couple thousandths. And there's all sorts of factors: wind, cloud cover, sun, air density. It's a lot of stuff. Yeah. And you got to know your vehicle to be able to adjust for that. So me being 5.69 seconds the guy that I lost to, he was dialed 6 point something. I can't remember, 6.11 or something like that. So the difference in how fast I'm going and how fast he's going, that's the difference in the light. So he'll leave that difference. He'll leave that much before me. And then I'll have to chase him. And theoretically, if everything is perfect and we run exactly what we think we're going to run, and the reaction time, so off the light, how we leave the line, if those are perfect, theoretically, we get there at the same exact time. However, because of the wind and the cloud cover and the air density and the reaction time, how we leave the line, it's almost never perfect. So it's very, very complicated.
In a very like basic term, and maybe I could be a little off, but you basically, let's say I assume my car is going to take 7.5 seconds to finish this race, and the person I'm racing thinks it's going to take them 7 seconds. They would leave half a second after me, and we should technically get there at the same time. Okay.
Yep. Yeah. So, that's basically how it goes.
How do they know that you're being like completely honest then, or how does that?
Well, so the way it goes, it's still not the first person to get there, because you have to run the closest to your estimated time without going quicker.
Oh, okay. So if you say you're going to take longer than you expect, it's obvious. And then since you're 3 seconds off, it doesn't matter that you won. You were completely off on your estimate.
Yeah. So it's like the price is right, basically. Yeah. Is the easiest way to explain it. You want to get the closest without going, in our case, under. Because if you go too fast, then you lose.
That's crazy.
So it's very complicated, and how I equate it. And so I don't know if this is going to make any sense, but if I estimate my time, they estimate their time, and if our reaction times are somewhat close, then you can tell if you're going to be way faster than your time and you need to let off, or if you're going to be close to your time based on where they're at on the racetrack. So how close you are at the finish line. And the race that I was in, the last time I raced by 0.2 of a second, obviously we were both pretty close.
Right.
Because it was, I mean, you can't even blink your eyes that fast. You can't even close your eyes that fast. So it's wasn't even a full inch that he got there before me.
Yeah, that explanation at least makes watching some of these Facebook videos make more sense, because there are times where I'm just like, how come they're mad? I was like, it looks like he should have won, but like they're not. He didn't. Like they're saying he didn't, but like it looked like he won. So yeah, it's not like a normal just start. Who gets there first? Oh, they're the winner. There's so much more than that. Where
that's interesting. I never knew that.
Yeah, it's a different style of racing. It's called bracket racing, and it's basically. So anybody can race. I mean, you could go race your street car tomorrow if you wanted to, and it levels the playing field, really. So you don't need $100,000 car or a $400,000 car. You could have your, I don't know. I could have a $1,000 Honda Civic.
Yeah, because your dad and or your brother, I think, normally race bikes, right? And you normally do cars.
Okay. Yeah, all of them. Well. It depends. Lately, we've all been racing against the cars, and there are other bikes that mix in. A lot of people that race motorcycles don't like racing against the cars, because if something does go wrong, that's a big moving mass that could take you out, and potentially, things do go wrong. Most of the people I'm racing with, they have 1 million passes. It's obviously an exaggeration, but hundreds and thousands of passes on that same vehicle, on that same setup. And every single time before I go down the racetrack, I take a look at my stuff. I check random bolts, see, I make sure everything's gonna go right. That's just with the maintenance and everything. And it can happen. It's a risk you take every time you go down that racetrack, but it's a risk worth it for me, I think. Some people it's not. Some people have had close calls or whatever. But we're on a prepped racing surface, and it's I don't know, something that it's worth it for me.
Yeah. So then that's like you were saying, obviously it's called bracket racing, but the motorcycles that they use, and this might be just me being obviously not knowing what I'm talking about or what I'm looking at, they don't look like normal motorcycles. They have like this metal like attachment or something on the back of them. Is that just like because of the style of racing, or is that
no, because they're called wheelie bars. So it's basically the bike that I race. I don't know, you can kind of see it right here, and what you're talking about are the, you can't really see it.
I'm gonna real quick take a guess because I think I know exactly what you're about to say.
Go ahead.
Since they just gun it so fast, the chances of you just popping a wheelie all the time is probably pretty likely. So does that just stop them from hitting a wheelie the second they take off, or ever, I guess?
Yeah, so it prevents you from coming over. There's also because of the style of chassis it is, there's no suspension on it, or there's front suspension, the front forks, but the rear end, it's called a hardtail. That bar on the back of us prevents us from doing a wheelie, but it also acts as kind of a suspension to load the rear tire. So it gives us traction. And there are bikes that race without wheelie bars. My brother's, he converted it now, but the bike that he races, it didn't have wheelie bars for the longest time. It actually had a rear suspension, a rear shock under it, and it was set up to give him the best traction to stick the rear tire and go. And it's all in tuning of the suspension or whatever. But that bar keeps us from flipping over, but it also acts as our rear suspension as well.
So they're not necessarily using like special motorcycles then? That's just like an attachment to a motorcycle that you would use?
Yeah, you can take a regular street bike as it is, and then you can just bolt that up to it. Yeah. You have to change the swing arm, how the rear tire is held, and all that. Or you can just get hardtail like struts, basically just tubes, connect it all together, and then attach the wheelie bars. But the one that I ride is purpose built. It's got a big 10-inch slick on the back. It's not street legal, nor could it. Well, I guess it could. Anything could be street legal, but it's never intended to be on the street. It's a purpose-built bike, but it's all the engine and stuff is all production stuff. It's a the crankshafts, camshafts, the engine cases, and everything is just out of a normal street bike. There's stuff done to it, bored and stroked, and big cams, and stuff that you don't know what I'm talking about.
Honestly, like I learned so much from this conversation. I was not.
For real.
I thought this was going to be more about like, stories and like crazy stuff. I honestly learned a lot. Like if people are trying to get into racing or understand racing, like this is a very good start. Like I actually learned a lot.
Dude, that's why you have to get the YouTube channel going, bro, because there's a bunch of idiots like us that have no idea what's going on. Like they need help.
Yeah, it's I wouldn't say you guys are idiots.
We're uninformed on the topic.
There we go. But yeah, it's always cool at the racetrack. Actually, this happened to me last week. I was in the lanes getting ready, setting my tire pressure, and some guy walked up and was asking me about the bike. And I love it when people do that. I love when when kids come by and they're looking at it. I always, you want to sit on it or get pictures on it or whatever. That's so cool to me. I love interacting with people, and I mean, I'm just like people. So kids come around or whatever.
Yeah, down the road eventually, and maybe I'll have to produce this for you, but you'll have to consider starting a racing podcast. I don't know how many there are out there, but all these people that you talk about, like these amazing racers in Florida and whatever, like I'm sure if you just like hit them up, a lot of them would come on and talk to you for hours about racing. And
yeah,
you just have this podcast, talk to racers.
I'd love to do that.
Yeah,
dude, that would be
awesome.
That'd be
really cool. I mean, there's amazing racers around here. People that we race with week in and week out are awesome. We just had the kid that ended up winning on Sunday. He's 17 years old. Doesn't have all the experience of, and everybody we race with are all different ages. They have all different vehicles. Like I said, the playing surface or whatever, it's all level ground. So some of them are faster, some of them are slower, some of them are young, some of them are old.
Yeah.
17-year-old kid just went out and beat everybody. He was on fire. He was, yeah, it was amazing. Not amazing. I've known the kid for a long time, and he's really good.
But still, it's unreal that like you could practice for years and years and years and years and years, but like this 17-year-old kid he's got it.
Yeah. Yeah, he's really good. And his brother he's got a twin brother that was really good too. They grew up in a racing family. They know how it goes. They actually both work at the racetrack. But anybody can be really good at it. And these kids are coming out and beating people that are 2-3 times their age sometimes, even 4 times their age. They got people that are old that have been doing it for years and years and years. And it's just, sometimes it's your day, sometimes it's not. But you can practice all day long, and sometimes you can just be 0.2 of a second off.
Right. Well, I'm definitely going to come, like I said, June 5th. This podcast might be out by then, or it might be coming out right after that. But either way, I'm going to try and come out there and come watch you race. I have one final question.
Yeah.
Where and how can I get a shirt?
They are coming up soon.
So you are going to put them on actual sale soon.
Yep. So we're going to put them on sale soon.
I'll wait to buy one then. I won't ask you to send me one. I'll buy one. I didn't know if you were actually going to put them up for sale soon or not.
Yeah. So this one that I have is old. We had these years ago. They're old and worn out by now. I just use them as shop shirts. The new ones are going to be, some of them are going to be like the dry fit type stuff. Not the Nike dry fit. But I forget what company we're using, but it's that moisture wicking material. It's really nice. They're really comfortable. I actually already have one.
Logo?
Huh?
Like the red is like the same logo and stuff, like on the bottom that you're going to be using?
Same logo. It'll be the Bixler Racing logo.
The red part. Like
This part?
Race. Yeah, so like the bottom, see how it's like I didn't notice it at first, how it's like I don't know what those things are called.
It's called the
monitor.
No, I'm talking about like the whole like hospital thing. I don't know if you did that on purpose or if that's what it means, but to me, like that's what it's like. You're gonna die racing.
Well, not die racing.
Not die racing, but like you're gonna race until you die. Like,
Yeah,
that's not what I meant.
Jeez,
I hope I don't die racing.
I'm gonna not literally while you're racing.
Yeah,
like I'm gonna go to the grave, and I'm still gonna be racing. Like until I die, like the day before I die, like I'm gonna make sure I'm still racing. Like nothing's gonna stop me from racing until I die. That's
I hope to do that. It's more.
You guys put me on a weird spot. That was not what I meant at all. Jesus.
No, it's more like this is what we live for. We're living the race, and it's fun. We're having fun. We're living the dream. Really, actually living the dream.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, that's kind of what it is. My wife actually designed this whole logo and everything. She, like I said earlier, man, she's amazing. She supports me, and I couldn't ask for anyone better. I love her.
That's awesome, dude.
So it's great.
I was going to say, I'll put all your social medias that you want and your Facebook pages and stuff. But do you shout them out at all if you know them?
Yeah. So one of them, the actual racing page, Bixler Racing. I think if you do the at Bixler Racing LLC, because originally that was going to be the business. We decided not to make that the LLC. We decided, but that's the handle to find us on Facebook. And then the actual shop is Bixler Performance LLC, and that's actually the actual business. That's where I'm doing all the work through. So that's I got 2 different Facebook pages. One of them is just the racing and just seeing what we're doing, the live videos, watching us, and then the other one's actually getting work done by me. So
follow them both.
Follow them both. That'd be great.
Do you just have your personal Instagram, or do you have a racing Instagram also?
My wife put up a shop, an Instagram for the shop for the performance side of things. I'm not like super social media savvy. I can message back and forth, and I love talking to people. I'm always on the pages on Facebook. I don't do a ton with Instagram. I have my own personal one. Yeah. I don't even know my handle for that. It's Josh Bixler. I I have the picture of me and my wife, the bike, and her horse. So if you want to go follow me,
Yeah,
we'll post it for sure.
Yeah, go follow Bixler Racing not Bixler Racing, Bixler Performance LLC on Instagram. She does a lot of the social media, technical questions, stuff like that. I'll answer them. I'm around in the shop, or if I don't get back to you right away, which I try to get back to everybody as quickly as possible. But all the technical questions and stuff, I answer all that stuff, and I'm on top of all that. Either she asks me, or I get the messages to my phone. Yeah. So, so that's where to find me. If you want to come watch or whatever.
I'll be out there for sure.
Yeah,
and we'll try and post your schedule. And if people are in the area, they can definitely come check it out and watch as well.
Yeah,
dude,
definitely. That's awesome.
Thanks for teaching me some things today, for real. Like, fuck school, man. I dropped out of that shit a long time ago. I'm learning new things every day, so I appreciate it.
Yeah, it's awesome. This is really cool. I was talking to Donny earlier this week, and I was like, I've never done anything like this. It's I was kind of nervous, to be honest, but yeah, this is awesome. It's just a conversation between a bunch of guys. It's cool. It's really cool. I'm happy to see you guys doing what you love doing. It's